Let me just say, after View distorting the belt, they're proclaiming the real world champion. I'm going to tell you all, with a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life. When you walk around this world and you tell everybody you're number one, the only way you get to stay number one is to be number one.
Woo! Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network, powered up by the Belly Up Sports Network of podcasts. Sit back and enjoy as we bring you the latest and greatest in the world of sports, everything from the Detroit Lions to the state of Michigan sports to around the country and around the world. So what are you waiting for? Let's get out there and let's watch the latest edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. And welcome, everybody. Indeed, it is the latest edition of the Captain Lou Extravaganza. We are live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network on our YouTube channel. We invite you to subscribe to that and check us out. We're also live on our Facebook page, the Captain Lou Extravaganza Facebook page. I invite you to be a friend there, if you will, or follow me on Facebook at Lewis Gamlin on Facebook, or you can follow me as well. We're live on Twitter at the Real Captain Lou. Lots to go over tonight. We are knee deep in football, everybody. It's August. That's right. We've got our first exhibition game of the night. How many of you are really going to watch that, or how much of it are you going to watch? If you're like me, well, unfortunately, if you're like me, you got to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go to work tomorrow. So maybe a little bit of it live tonight. I'm thinking maybe about 5 minutes or so, 10 minutes, around 9 o'clock or whatever. But my God, it's great to have football back, isn't it? High school starts here in Michigan next week. Can't wait for that. I've got another year of Freeland Falcons football play-by-play to do. Really excited for that. But we've got college football to talk about, pro football to talk about. As I mentioned, I'm here in Michigan, so of course you can see by my paraphernalia, I am a diehard Lions fan, have been for, started watching them in 1970. So that's 52 years. My earliest recollection is watching Greg Landry run 75 yards on a quarterback sneak in Lambeau Field and getting caught at the 10-yard line. I think he ran out of gas. Detroit won that game, I think 40-0. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to do that in Lambeau again, huh? But so I've been there a long time. Yes, I witnessed Detroit's only playoff win since 1957, back in 1991. God, has it really been 31 years ago? Holy crap, eh? Well, here's to all things eternal if you're a Lions fan. And who knows, man? This could be our year to the playoffs. Detroit's on Hard Knocks this year. Can you believe that? That's going to be fun to watch Dan Campbell. He's going to be biting kneecaps on his way to HBO this year. And I don't know if that's going to put any undue pressure on Detroit or not. Not like they're really expected to do anything anyways, but I'm excited for it because they've got some weapons. We're going to talk to Jensen Riffle at the bottom of the hour. He's our Detroit Lions insider. We're going to get his take on all things Detroit Lions tonight. So he's going to be our lone guest tonight as we kind of kick things back here for the Captain Lou Extravaganza. I took a little bit of a sabbatical with my real job and everything. I'm going to be honest with you, be frank, my ass was kicked. I needed about a month or so just to kind of regroup and get things going. But I'm telling you, it's great to be back. Really looking forward to it. And, if there's anything that you want to say or any talk about it, let me know. You can, follow me on Twitter at The Real Captain Lou. Follow me on Facebook, Lewis Gamlin. It's that easy. Throughout the year, we're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be football-centric here on this show. And starting Labor Day week, or actually the week before Labor Day, we're going to bring back the Captain Lou six-pack challenge. We got great prizes coming up. We're going to be giving away a Fanatics gift certificate. We're going to give away a Visa gift card. Who knows what else is in store here tonight. So we hope that you stick with us throughout the year. How that contest works in a nutshell, how I've done it. This will be, I think, the 4th year that I've done that too, is I'm gonna pick 3 games, college, 3 games pro. And I pick them against the spread. Your job is to beat me on those games. If you do, you go in the drawing for a for those prizes that I give away usually the Tuesday or Wednesday after the national championship game in college football. And so it goes throughout the year. You can do it every week. I've had people that have beaten me 8 times in 1 year, 7 times in 1 year, but we're going to do that starting Labor Day week or the week before Labor Day, because college football kicks off Labor Day weekend. There's some dandies out there. I think Ohio State and Notre Dame kick things off. I know Michael Farage, he's going to be excited. I know he's going to have the blue and gold on as he roots against that team from south of the Michigan border, or he's going to vote for that team to beat that team from south of the Michigan border. He's not going to beat that team from Columbus, or he's not going to root for that team from Columbus. See what happens when I take 6 weeks off? I get a little rusty. But that's why we're getting the cobwebs out tonight. So anyways, we got a lot to go over this year. We're going to cover all the sports really, but we're going to be football centric. When the World Series comes around, we'll get to that. We'll get to the baseball after Labor Day. We'll have a couple of segments on that to get you ready for the postseason. But I also have some exciting news as well. A lot of you know that I cover the American Collegiate Hockey Association pretty intently throughout the years. I'm usually part of the national broadcast with the ACHA, either on hockey TV or whatnot over the years. I'm bringing back the ACHA Power Play podcast. You will be able to see it on the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube, and of course also on Twitter and on my Facebook pages as well. That's going to be where we do all of our ACHA programming. We always get a lot of coaches on there, players. We'll get the executive director, Craig Barnett will stop by. Also Dave Kurtz, the director of the media and everything. We'll have them on. That's going to be our exclusive show. We used to do that exclusively for Division III for the ACHA a few years ago, but we're bringing that back. That's going to be every other week, a 2-hour podcast. Coaches and whatnot will go through all the games, the standings, whatever, the rankings. So stay tuned for that. Check that out on my Facebook page and on Twitter as well. That'll be coming up probably starting about the mid to late September, when the teams start getting knee deep into practice and starting their first games. We'll get you up to speed on that. And that will be starting the road to Boston for the national championships. All 5 divisions will be there in March, and we'll be there as well. So anyways, this kind of gives you a feel for what we're going to do this fall anyways, as we get geared into football season, college and pro. They're starting practice. I think college starts up next week. The pros obviously are going strong. High school here in Michigan, this is a kind of a dark week, if you will, quiet week. They start their practices next Monday, and then scrimmages are in 10 days. And then the opening weekend of high school football in Michigan is August 25th. So that's right. Yours truly, I'm going to be busier than hell, but there's no other thing I'd love to do than to do this right here, and blessed to do it. And I'm just excited that you're along for the ride. Even if you only stop by for a couple of minutes or whatever, we really appreciate you taking time out to watch us here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Well, we mentioned tonight that we got a lot to talk about. And, I guess everybody's been talking about it. I've had some interesting banter back and forth with some friends of mine on Facebook and whatnot. And I got to be I have to do full disclosure here. I fell for a meme that had Ben Roethlisberger pointing out that Deshaun Watson shouldn't get any, he's the face of the NFL, blah, blah, blah. His suspension wasn't big enough. So first of all, I have to apologize. I can't believe I fell for that without digging into it. But I still don't think that much of Ben Roethlisberger. I think, he's a narcissist and whatnot, but I take full responsibility. It was a fake meme. I fell for it. So I do apologize for that if you want to check out my Facebook page. But I'm sure you'll see comments of people. We're bantering back and forth on it. Deshaun Watson got 6 games from Ellen Robinson, the retired judge or whatever. She was in charge of meting out the suspension after collecting the evidence, or the evidence she could get. And so she gave Deshaun Watson a 6-game suspension. The NFLPA had said that they would go along with any suspension that she gave, good or bad. In this instance, I think it's a slap on the wrist. And now the NFL has decided to appeal. Well, this afternoon it was announced that Roger Goodell will not be the appellate judge, if you will. He will not be the judge, jury, and executioner in this one. He's going to hand it off to Attorney General Peter Harvey from New Jersey. He's had some dealings with the NFL in the past. It's funny. I guess the NFLPA has until tomorrow to decide if they're going to fight any extra suspension or whatnot. And from what it sounds like, they're going to try to sue the NFL. They're going to take it to court if there's any more suspension. It's turning into a clown show. The NFL can't get out of their own way. I love the NFL. You know that. Obviously, we're talking about it. We're going to talk Detroit Lions. We're going to talk football all year round. We do it here. We love it. But it just is so mind-boggling how they can't get these right. You think they would learn from Ray Rice and some of the other people that have gotten suspended. Let's look at, there's 25 women or maybe 30 that have come forward. They've reached settlements with them, blah, blah, blah. So we don't have testimony. We don't have where there's smoke, there's fire. And one thing before I go any further on this, please, why is the media getting blamed for this, or the fans? You knew this was going to happen this way. If you think about it for a second, the NFL they decided that, they're going to have Sue Ellen Robinson do this. And, she got the 6-game suspension. The NFL I think they were smart in doing it the way they did it, because now they could take the temperature, not only of the outcry from the public, but, from the fellow owners or whatnot, from the NFL in general. And the outcry has been just, the NFL, obviously they're getting a black eye from this, because a lot of women fans, they're going to lose a lot of women fans if they don't up that suspension. And it all goes back to his behavior. Where's the morality in it? I know it's not we're not all supposed to go out for punching cookies and everything. The NFL's been dealing with this kind of behavior for years. And I know you've had the alcohol abuse and all that, but it's time for the NFL to wake up. These guys, this playing in the NFL is a privilege. It's not a right. And, the NFL has every right to do this. If he wants to suspend him indefinitely, that's what they want. They want a year suspension. I don't have a problem with that. Now you're going to say, well, he already served his year last year. He could have played in Houston last year. He could have agreed to play. Nobody twisted his arm to sit out. Goodell probably would have suspended him indefinitely then. But, he played his cards. He sat out. He didn't want to play in Houston no more. No doubt about it. So now, the NFL, they have this 6-game suspension, and now they have the right to appeal, and they're going to appeal. Do I think he's going to get a year? No way. I think what's going to end up happening is he's going to probably get maybe 12 games. I'm thinking more like 8 to 10. And the NFLPA will appeal it. They'll sue them. They'll try to get it knocked down. I don't see it being a year. I really don't. But, it all goes back to his conduct. And the findings that Robinson gave out were, it's just like, it wasn't a great, it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't vicious. It wasn't this, it wasn't that. It still was, the conduct was there. The misconduct was there. And 6 games to me is nothing. You want to do something, let him play this year. Suspend him for the first 6 games of next year when he starts that big old contract. I mean, he's going to get fined let's say it's 6 games, $1 million. That's not even half. That's like $300,000 worth of game fines. For a guy like that who's going to make, generational upon generational upon generational wealth, that's nothing. He should take that, whatever. If it's a year, he should take it and run. I know the Browns don't want that, but you know what? They traded for him. How apropos is that? A clown show that Cleveland's been. You think the Lions are a clown show, which they have been off and on for 60 years or whatever it's been. Now this is just as, those guys are worse. And now, I don't feel sorry for the Browns at all. But I think Deshaun Watson, he deserves a year. And it's funny because, I have a massage therapist. I've talked to her. When she heard it was funny when she heard the suspension, she was furious. So it's a slap in the face for those of us that are legitimate. And, it really is. And I've heard a lot of women on talk radio in the last few days, how disappointed they are. And I can't say that I blame them. 6 games to me, that's nothing. And I just think that getting a year, I would love to see it, but it isn't going to happen, I think. But and it's going to get worse because the NFLPA is going to sue. I didn't think they had a right to. Sure, they could sue, but I thought it was in the collective bargaining agreement that they couldn't. So we'll have to wait and see. But we all know how contracts are, especially in the NFL. So who knows? But it's going to be interesting to watch that and see how that unfolds. Will Deshaun Watson play before Thanksgiving? I don't know. Hard to say. I think he'll probably get 10 games. That's my guess. It'll get bumped up to 10. They'll go for a year, then it'll get pled down. They'll have some kind of agreement, but there's going to be a lot of wasted money, whatever. It's the NFL. But what's really kind of funny was the NFL tried to hide that a little bit. They came out with their ruling. The Dolphins got busted for tampering. Stephen Ross, $1.5 million fine, which that's like $10 or maybe $100 to you and me, maybe $20. They got docked a first-round draft pick for 2023, and I think a third-round pick in 2024, something like that. That's the most unprecedented fine or whatever, and docking of picks that we've seen for tampering in the NFL. From what I read and what I heard and who I've talked to, they were talking to Tom Brady and Sean Payton all the way back to 2019 when Tom Brady was in Tampa. He's under contract with Tampa Bay, and they're talking to Brady and his agent, Don Yee. I think that's his first name, if not whatever. Also, Sean Payton, while he was under contract with New Orleans. How narcissist? You talk about narcissists. How do you think you're going to get away with that? Especially in this day and age of social media. You slip one word out to it, it's going to get around. Tom Brady wanted to go there. He was all set to go there. I guarantee you that if he did go to the Dolphins, Bruce Arians would still be the head coach in Tampa. No doubt in my mind. But the funny thing about it this week was, I think the NFL tried to put this as soon as they could to make them look good in the presence of this Deshaun Watson suspension. Because the 6 games, when that came out, everybody was in uproar. Well, most everybody. I'd like to say it's probably 85% of the people think that it was too late, maybe 80%. And so the NFL tried to go a little damage control, and they announced this fine. The two top, losing that first round pick, Stephen Ross getting a $1.5 million fine for this, and that's nothing. I don't know. I think he can't be around the team until the end of October, something like that, or October 19th or 20th, whatever. Okay, so he's not around the facility. He'll go vacation now for 2.5 months or do whatever he does. The Dolphins are going to be decent, but just think if it gets back to how these, if you do something illegal like that, sooner or later you're going to get caught, and they got caught. It's just, you hear about tampering every once in a while. You think, he's talking to so-and-so about coming to wherever, going to Tampa or going to Detroit or going to Pittsburgh, whatever. but it never came to anything like this. And now it did. And it's just amazing to me how they thought that they could get away with it. And this is a doozy. I mean, I don't know how good the Dolphins are going to be next year. I personally, I think they're a 500 team, maybe 9-8. They got some weapons, but Tua to me is okay. He's got to, take that next step. We'll talk about that throughout the year for sure. So I don't know. But again, it's funny how the NFL tried to get this to overshadow the Deshaun Watson debacle with that suspension and now the appeal. And there's no way. It did for a little while, but then all of a sudden, when the appeal was announced, all of a sudden the Deshaun Watson case again floated to the top, if you will. And it took over the headlines again in the NFL. Now we wait to find out what Attorney General Peter Harvey, I want to call him Steve Harvey, Peter Harvey from New Jersey, how long it's going to take him to make his decision. And again, we mentioned that the NFLPA, the Players Association, they have their right to, or they're going to sue, or they have until tomorrow to decide if they're going to sue and take action as well if there is a suspension. So we'll wait and see on that. So that's going to take a while to play out, but it's going to be there. And again, the circus is in Cleveland, as it always seems to be in the past few years. Hey, welcome again to the Captain Lou Extravaganza. We're live here on the Captain Lou Sports Network via our YouTube channel. Also, you can catch us live on my Twitter feed, which is @TheRealCaptainLou. Also on my Facebook page, Lewis Gamlin, or the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Follow me there. Again, great to be back behind the mic in front of the camera too, as we took a little sabbatical the month of July, late June rather. Just kind of, you need it every once in a while. It's been going nonstop for about 5 years, really, 4 years, and great to be back behind the mic, and great to be here with you. Again, we're powered up by Belly Up Sports, and it's a great network of podcasts. Check out our website, bellyupsports.com. They've got some great articles on there as well. Belly Up TV, we've got a great lineup of live TV on there as well. So we just can't wait to bring you another year of sports, football centric as well. Speaking of football and speaking of our Detroit Lions, let's bring in our Detroit Lions insider. He's the guy with all the answers. He's going to tell me why he thinks the Detroit Lions are going to go to the playoffs this year. Jensen Ripple, how are you, my friend? Welcome back to the show.
Good. Thanks for having me. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm talking football again. We got the Hall of Fame game tonight.
Yes, sir.
So football is definitely on. How much of that are you really going to watch?
I might put a half in just because I've been dying to see some football on TV. But as in, if I wouldn't watch it if you think you're actually going to see something meaningful. You won't see many big names playing that, if at all. But it will be good to have football back and see the guys hitting each other a little bit. And I look forward to checking it out here probably in a half an hour or so.
Oh, I agree. It's going to be we know that Trevor Lawrence isn't going to play, and I don't think Derek Carr is going to play. I still get those names mixed up watching his brother play for the Houston Texans. So let's get right into it, Jensen. First and foremost, our Lions are on Hard Knocks on HBO. Who would have thought, eh? First of all, can you believe they're on Hard Knocks? And second, does this put any pressure in your mind on the Lions, any added pressure for them to, look respectable this year?
First of all, I'm not shocked that they're on Hard Knocks just from a standpoint of Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell's obviously the moment that he had his first press conference as a Lions head football coach, he went viral, right? Everything he does, he seems to go viral. He's insane like that. So I think HBO sat back and looked, hey, it's actually going to be fun, right? It's Detroit Lions, the same old Lions mantra and all that. But I think they see Dan Campbell, they see Aaron Glenn, they see, Williams, the running back, who's a very broad personality, and St. Brown and Hutchinson. I think the Lions are. This is the perfect year for them to be on Hard Knocks. They're in year two. Brad Holmes, I don't think he's great in the public per se, but it'll be nice to see how he builds a team and cuts somebody and goes through his process as well. And I think I'm not really surprised. Now, in the Patricia Quinn era, this would have never happened. Never would have happened. They wouldn't even been, even if they would have been the laughing stock of the league like they were, and they didn't have a choice if they got invited on it, the HBO would have never invited them on it. Quinn and Patricia would have hid everything from the cameras. It would have been probably like one of the worst episodes that you could have seen of Hard Knocks with those guys, I would say. Does this put pressure on them? A little bit, right? I think you find with Hard Knocks is people will develop a passion for some of the players, like an average fan. I think people don't really know much about the Detroit Lions other than watching them on Thanksgiving every year, the national fans. So I think they're going to be like, oh, I like St. Brown. He's got a great personality. I'm going to root for him. I'm going to tune in on Fox at 1 o'clock and maybe check out and see how those guys are doing. I think it gives them it gives us a bigger picture, per se, to just an average NFL fan. And I think it does add a little bit of pressure because, I'll be like, people are just going to question, if we start out on the gate and not winning football games, people are going to question, hey, maybe Dan Campbell's practices were a little too hard. I saw on Hard Knocks, or maybe, I heard there was a couple fights today at practice. Maybe they shouldn't have been fighting each other. Maybe they should have been doing something else. I just think there's more negative opinions that can be out there with you going on a show like this. So.
Well, I think it's going to be fun to watch. I think it starts next Tuesday at 10 o'clock. I think it's on HBO, and you can catch obviously the replays on there. But yeah, it's going to be fun to see him in the spotlight for once. Besides, like you said, besides Thanksgiving, something for us Lions fans that have been suffering for so many years. Jensen, towards the end of last year, Jared Goff started coming in his own with Detroit. Now, again, I'm reaching for things here because I want Detroit to do so good. His first year with the Rams, it was kind of a learning process for him. He didn't do real well. Second year, he took him to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying Detroit's going to go to the Super Bowl, but he got a little momentum with the Lions towards the end of the year when he was healthy. Do you think he can keep that momentum that he got from the end of last year? What's your initial take on year 2 of Jared Goff in Detroit?
I think he will keep that momentum going. Now, is he gonna climb that trajectory even more? I don't know. That's the question, right? Is he gonna get better than what we saw the last 4 games of the year last year? I would hope so. He's got better weapons, right? He's gonna have the whole offensive line back. Knock on wood that we get through training camp here with no injuries. And through the preseason. And that's going to help him out a lot. I heard DeAndre Swift looks great in practice right now. He's even cut down a little bit more. He's a lot faster, a lot more quicker, and you add the weapons that they've given him. There's no reason why Jared Goff shouldn't even do better than the last 4 games of the year. I think he will. You bring in Ben Johnson. Well, Ben Johnson was here, but you bring him, as the OC. I think Dan Campbell's still going to have a huge say in calling plays and being involved there. But I think there's no reason why Jared Goff can't. I mean, honestly, Lou, I think if he plays just like he did he's going to give us a chance to win every football game we play. I really do. If he plays just like that, and I think I said, a couple weeks ago, last time I was on here, I said, all he has to do is be a robot and not turn over the football, and this team will have a chance to win every game they play. I truly believe that. And, and all defense isn't going to be great, but if Jared Goff can, just not put them in bad situations or fumble the football and not throw picks, I think he's going to do just fine. And honestly, I think he's going to have a really good year. I think I'd go out and say that he's one of the, obviously you have Aaron Rodgers in the NFC North, but I think I would put him up against Cousins and Justin Fields any day of the week in that division. I really would. And I think he's going to win some football games for us.
Well, here's the other thing I was thinking about too is, there's been a lot of negative talk about him, and, he's got something to prove. Let's face it, Jensen, he wants to play for a contract. He wants to stay as a starter. And in my opinion, that's going to be motivation for him. He's going to have that chip on his shoulder because if he plays well, he's going to put Detroit in a spot to whether they invest in him long-term, or maybe somebody else will offer him $40 million a year or whatever. So I think Detroit benefits from that. What do you think?
I think if Brad Holmes was on this call right now, Brad Holmes would tell you the perfect word is Jared Goff goes out and balls out. He doesn't need to draft a rookie quarterback. that accelerates the rebuild so much faster, right? Because Lou, you could draft the next so-called best thing, and we don't know. We have no idea, right?
Yeah.
So, I think the perfect world is Jared Goff comes out this year, even if he wins 8 ball games, even wins 8 football games. I think, and he's the reason that we win 8 football games, or he's a big reason why. I think Brad Holmes wants to find every reason why that this is the dude to lead us do this rebuild, and it's going to make everything better because we can go into the draft next year with those 2 picks again, and you don't have to spend one on a quarterback. You can go get the best defensive player if you need it. You can even go get the best skill guy again if you whatever you may need. You can go get it, and you don't need to waste it on a quarterback. And one thing that people keep telling me is like, oh, the Lions will have 2 picks. They can just package them together and move up and get a quarterback. Well, guess what? If you play your hand and the whole league knows you need a quarterback, it's not going to go that easy. They're not going to just give you a quarterback because you have 2 picks. So I think it would make it so much easier if Jared Goff can be the guy. Now, there's a catch-22 to that, right? Brad Holmes can't be blinded by wanting him to be the guy so much that he gets caught up in saying, oh, okay, this is my guy. I'm not going to draft one no matter how he looks on the field. We can't get into that world because then you're never going to accelerate the rebuild. You're just going to be stuck in, idle the whole time. So I think personally, I believe Jared Goff can be the guy. I hope he's the guy, but he's going to have 17 games to prove if he can be. And on August 4th, I'm going to tell you that my prediction is he's going to come out and he's going to surprise people and he's going to be the guy.
Well, let's hope so, because I look at the schedule. It's obviously not as difficult as last year's. I don't see an 0-7 start in that schedule. If that happens, then we'll be talking about him in the end of October, wondering if Dan Campbell's the right guy for the job. I mean, but I just don't see an 0-7 start. I see 3-4, 4-3. It's kind of an up and down schedule, finishing with 2 NFC North opponents at the end of the year, at Minnesota and at Green Bay. That's going to be difficult. We'll talk about that down the road. We're joined by Jensen Riffle, our Detroit Lions insider here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Jensen, we talked about the skilled players. Detroit went out and got DJ Chalk, which I think was huge. I love that pickup. They draft Jameson Williams. He probably, if he sees the field, won't be till around Thanksgiving. But, man, we got a lineup right now with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who in my big money fantasy league that I'm in, he's a keeper of mine. I picked him in the 16th round last year. So I don't have to my pick burn is 16th round, which is awesome. 2 potential breakout stars right there. And then you, again, with Williams. But I got to tell you, I listened to Chalk, 2 hours into his first practice, he said what a night and day difference it was here than it was last year. I mean, you mentioned it with DeAndre Swift. The potential is there. I know that ugly word. We use it a lot. This receiving core reminds me a lot of the 90s receiving core. Take nothing from Calvin Johnson. He's a Hall of Famer, but led by Herman Moore, we had more weapons, I think, in the 90s than with Calvin Johnson being the only guy. This, I got to tell you, I'm excited for this wide receiver core.
Yeah, it's I'll tell you, I've been a fan since I can remember, honestly, and I don't remember. I mean, you can point back to Calvin, right? I mean, Calvin can count for like 2 of these guys here, right? Like, he's that good. But if you have the depth of it like we do, we're not even mentioning TJ Hawkinson, who's obviously a matchup nightmare. Yeah. We're not even mentioning Quintez Cephas, who I think has looked great in camp so far. He got a little banged up. He's going to be out maybe a week or so, but I think he's looked great. Even like we used Khalif Raymond last year in a very good role. I think the depth of this position is phenomenal, and that's all credit to Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell doing it that way. And I think that's also showing you that they want Goff to be the guy, right? They're not just throwing out random UDFAs at him here. They want him to succeed. And, does it suck that Jameson Williams can't be ready week 1 against Philly? Of course, right? Everybody wants him to play, right? But there's no reason to rush him, right? If he can't play to Thanksgiving, there's no reason to mess with it. DJ Chalk's also a vet. He knows what he's doing. He's going to catch balls in traffic. He's going to be huge in that room. St. Brown is, I heard, balling out in camp. He started a fight today in camp with Amani Owoye, I guess. And I heard, a lot of just bickering back and forth. But one thing I've heard from this, and I've, talked to a few of my Lions guys that I know real well that have been there, every day, that this wide receiver group is close as they've ever seen it. St. Brown may go catch punts, work on some special teams drills. Jamison Williams and DJ Chalk and Quintez Cephas and all those guys, they don't leave each other. And then Amwani St. Brown's is catching 220 balls every day after practice on the jugs machine, and all those guys are standing there rotating, right? And these guys are putting in their work, and they want to succeed just as much as everybody else wants to succeed. And I think, Antoine Randall is a phenomenal wide receiver coach, and I think he's got a great group here. And I actually, talked with Antoine at the combine when I was down there, and he just raved about, I would say, being a coach like myself, the best coaching is not when it comes from the coach, but it's when it comes from the players. And he said that's what he's got going on right now. And I don't think you can say that for a long time that's happened in the Detroit Lions organization, is that the players are stepping up and putting their foot forward and doing the best for the team. And I think it's just phenomenal. We have, DJ Shark's on a 1-year deal, right? So is he also playing for a new contract? Yes. And I love that, because go out there and ball out for us. And hey, if you leave us, is it going to hurt? Yeah. But guess what? He gave us 17 games, the best football he could play. And you hope he comes back. But if he doesn't, we'll go find somebody else. Right. So that's what you want. St. Brown, I believe, is going to be here for a very long time. And, obviously, if Jamison Williams is even half the player he was at Alabama, I think we're going to be very pleased in what we got there as well. So.
I think Shock can be an 75 to 80 catch guy, 1,000 to 1,200 yards. Like, just for what you said, let's face it, everybody wants to win, but money motivation and long-term security, everybody wants that too in the NFL, because we all know what it stands for a lot of times, not for long. You mentioned TJ Hawkinson. I think they picked up his option, if I'm not mistaken. Do you extend him? When do they start talking about maybe a longer-term extension? I know Detroit's record with tight ends hasn't been that great over the years. Hawkinson, to me, is talented. He's got to prove he can stay healthy. I like what he brings. But when do you talk about possibly, or do you extend Hawkinson?
That's a tough question. I've been asked this quite a bit here in the last few weeks, just with you saw another wide receiver get signed today. Pittsburgh Deontay Johnson got signed today.
Yeah.
David Njoku got signed to a massive deal a few weeks ago. Here's the thing, and you hit it right on the head. Can he stay healthy? You can't give him big money unless he's giving you. Now, I'm not going to say everybody in the NFL is going to play 17 games a year. It's tough, right? That's real tough to do. But if he can give you 12, 13, 14 games a year and play in those big games or fight through some things, and we need him to fight through some things, I think you need to look at that. I'll tell you, and I'm going to use my PFF motto here for you a little bit. Since he's came in the league, his run blocking grade has gone down pretty bad, pretty substantially. And that's I think also to do with offensive line hasn't been too good when he first came here. There's different factors to that. But I think he needs to get a little bit better in the run game. He needs to be able to bully one of those defensive ends and chip and get out and do what he needs to do. But to answer your question, I would extend him, but I would extend him from the point of I don't think we're going to find anybody better, and I really don't want the Lions to draft another tight end in the first round anytime soon. So I think
both.
Yeah, I think it's best that we do extend him, but it's got to be at the right number, right? I think TJ, I'm not asking him to take a hometown discount, but I am asking him to not command top tier NFL tight end money, because I'm going to tell you right now, he's not a George Kittle or a Travis Kelce in my eyes. So I think he needs to be right in that second tier of guys. And if he can come here and be a mentor for the other tight ends and be a run blocker and be a pass catching threat. And, if he stays healthy this year, I extend him. I would extend him. If I'm Brad Holmes, I'm sitting there going, okay, if he can play the first 10 games of the year for me, I'll look to start contract negotiations with him, maybe December or somewhere in there and kind of go from there and see what you can get. Because let's be real, Brad Holmes didn't draft him, right? Brad Holmes ain't tied to him in any way, shape, or form. So
great point.
And we have no clue, right? And we have a head coach that was a Pro Bowl tight end in this league. He knows exactly what he's looking for. So and he was a nasty dude, as you know. He was a nasty guy in his day. So he's going to want Hawkinson to get in the dirty areas and go to work. So I think to answer your question, I would extend him, Lou. I would.
Real quick, let's switch over to the defensive side of the ball, because that obviously I think is the area for the Lions that needs the most improvement. We got the most room for improvement right there is the defense, and starts to me in the backfield, defensive backfield. And we got Okudah back. Number one, obviously, you talk about staying healthy. He's got to stay healthy. And I love what you just said about Brad Holmes. Okudah's not a Brad Holmes guy. So I think he's got that much more to prove to him. What have you heard about Okudah in practice? I mean, you talk about a guy who the pressure's on, it's got to be him.
I've watched some highlights of camp and stuff. I haven't been down there exactly yet.
Yeah.
But everything I hear is he's cutting well, he's doing well. It's not like he's like that people think he's like favoring his Achilles at any way, shape, or form. I just think it's going to take him a few weeks to get back. I really think if fans expect him to go into week one and face a Jalen Reagor or whoever it may be and just be a lockdown corner, I think they're setting themselves up for some hopeful things. He's going to have to, I think Aubrey Pleasant, Aaron Glenn are going to mix him in. You may not see him play more than 30 snaps week one. You may see him get toned down a little bit more. There's no reason why, Will Harris can't play on the outside a little bit. Okudah can't play on the outside a little bit. Even that kid out of Syracuse that we drafted can't get some reps out there just to get him into the rhythm of going, right? And then once he gets, comfortable back, because we know, Lou, training camp speed and week one speed are not the same. And so when he gets going out there and things are coming at him, it's going to be a lot for him. But overall, if Okudah can be the third overall pick that we got, that's going to accelerate things so much easier for us as well. And I think everything I've heard from him is if he can stay healthy with Aubrey Pleasant as his coach, who's probably Aubrey Pleasant's going to be a head coach in the next 3-4 years. That simple. He's going to be. There's no doubt that he's getting the best coaching that he can right now, and there's no reason why he shouldn't be coming. I heard, I'll tell you this, and some of the fans out there is, when you get injured in the National Football League, you're not required to go to meetings. You're not required to even be in the facility anymore if you don't want to be. He never left. Wow. So he got hurt in week one last year. He sat in every single meeting with Aubrey Pleasant. He was at every single practice. He traveled with the team. You don't have to do that. And he did that. And so that shows you how much he's bought into this organization, how much he's bought into Aubrey Pleasant and Dan Campbell and those guys. And I think that's nothing. I believe if you're going to put in the hard work and you're going to put in the time to recover, more than likely you'll get something out of it, man. And I hope he gets it.
Oh, I do too. He's had a bad rap. I don't know if he's had a bad rap. He's had bad luck. He did look good his rookie year last year, of course, with Achilles. So it's to me, it is do or die time for him. We all know, Jensen, about Aiden Hutchinson. He started out. He's going to be a starter day one. It looks like. How excited truly should we be for Hutchinson? I mean, he's come with all the hype. And, he's a Michigan guy, so he's a local guy. He's part of restoring the roar, if you will. How excited should we be for him this year?
I think you should be really excited. Honestly, I really think you should be cloud nine with Aiden Hutchinson. From every reports that I've heard, and he's going up arguably against some of the best tackles in the league with Decker and Sewell. And, Sewell beat him up day one in pads a little bit from the reports, and then day two, Hutchinson did back down, did a couple moves on him, got to the quarterback, got credited with some sacks. They're also shifting him inside so they can get Charles Harris and, him on the field at the same time in those rush down packages. I think you should be very excited for him. I think, honestly, if I had to predict today, he's probably going to be a 7, 8, 9 sack guy this year. And that's, if you look from where we were last year to now, I'll take that any day of the week, right? So
that would be amazing.
And I tell people, he doesn't have to sack anybody. As long as he can make the guy feel afraid back there and get off his spot, that's when throws are late. That's when things are over the middle when they shouldn't be. That's when interceptions happen. That's when things happen for your defense that can be great. And he's going to be phenomenal. I expect a lot of Hutchinson jerseys in Ford Field there come week one. I expect, them chanting Hutch and doing the thing that they did at Michigan for him because, he couldn't land in a better spot. And I think, Dan Campbell and those guys teaching him, he's great. I heard he's a pro, man. He's out there every day working on his craft, and he's staying after practice. And I heard he sings a mean Billie Jean too. They had rookie hazing, and I heard he sung Billie Jean phenomenal. So he sounds like he's got all sorts of skills, Lou. But I would be very excited. I think the expectations are exactly where they should be for Aiden.
You know, it sounds like he's a character guy too. It'll be great. It sounds like he's great in the clubhouse, if you will. That's what Detroit needs, man, more than anything. And it's, you know, well, and it's going to be fun to watch him develop and everything. Last question on the defense for you, Jensen. You know, we got Pasquale and Joseph, you know, in the second and third rounds. How much of an impact do you see out of them? Are they opening day starters in your eyes? I know it's kind of early to predict. First couple of weeks of training camp. Do we get do either one of them become a starter, or do we get serious playing time out of both? What's your feel early in training camp for them?
So I had high expectations for Josh Pascal coming in, but he hasn't practiced at all. He's been hurt, had a sports hernia surgery. I hate to say it, but I'm going to compare him to like Levi Ozaruke last year, who had back surgery before camp. I don't expect much out of him this year. My expectations have been tempered quite a bit, just because, you know, coming from, even if you're not injured and you're coming from a rookie to, you know, day one starter, you're going to have your work cut out for you. Right. And if you're not playing, or you're not in, you know, the fall camp and doing what you're supposed to do, I don't think he'll be much of an impact. Now, I'm not saying he won't play. I think he'll play, but I don't think you're going to get the huge impact that I think the organization thought they were going to get out of him this year. That doesn't mean that he's not going to be a good football player. I just think this year you're not going to get what we expected out of him. Kobe Joseph, I heard he's running with the threes right now in practice, which is normal for a guy where he was drafted. Sure. But he'll make an impact on special teams. I do not expect him to make much of an impact as a defensive guy, but you know, he's going to be probably one of those gunners on the special teams unit, and he's going to go down there and fly down there and try to make plays. And I think he'll make an impact in that form, which, you know, as you know, Lou, you make an impact on special teams, somehow you find yourself in the back end playing too. So it's just amazing how it works like that. So I think he's going to make an impact on the specials. And if you look at it, you have one of the best special teams units in the league. That helps you out too, right? It helps you out with everything. Absolutely. So I think he'll make an impact that way, and I expect those guys to get some time as well in the game. So. Why
did I not expect a little special teams thing out of you anyways, man? That's your specialty, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. How's things going at Saginaw Valley, by the way?
Good, great. We start fall camp on Saturday, and we'll get practice going here on Monday, and I can't wait, man. We're excited. We got, you know, 136 guys jumping at the gun here to get after it, and we're ready to go, and we'll be looking forward to West Virginia Wesleyan on September 1st, and nice. Hopefully win a GLIAC championship. So,
boy, that would be fun to see. Beautiful campus over there. Love your stadium.
Thank you.
Been there a few times for games over there, and of course, something near and dear to our heart. We got another year of Freeland football coming up. Well, it's going to be tough to match what they did last year. So close to going to Ford Field, but I know, talking to, you know, Kevin Townsend, they're ready.
Oh yeah. I talked to Kevin quite a bit. Him and I still stay in touch, and one of my best friends, and he'll have those boys ready to go, and he'll pick up like where we left off, and that staff's amazing, and those guys will be ready to go, and I believe that you know, hopefully they can punch that one in this year and get to Ford Field and do that for Kevin and those guys, and that'll be amazing.
It sure would be. Well, real quick before I let you go, I know you kind of mentioned 8 wins at the beginning of the year. We'll have you on again right before the start of the first game against Philadelphia. But right now, on August 4th, 2022, what's your win total projection for the Lions?
I'm gonna go 8 and 9. I'm gonna stick with 8, Lou. I'm gonna stick with 8. Now I'm a Lions fan, right? We're always optimistic, right? I'm 8 and 9 might get you a wild card spot in that NFC.
It might this year.
They take 7 playoff teams, right? They expanded the playoffs. There's no reason why I believe maybe 8 wins can get you that. I believe that there was going to be a stretch here in this season, and you kind of hit the head on it, that there's going to be a stretch, you know, the last 4 or 5 games of the year, and I hate to say it, you're going to go to Green Bay the last week of the year, and you're probably going to have to win that football game in some way, shape, or form, right, in order to probably get to you want to go. they all going to play meaningful games in the month of December when they're supposed to. I truly believe they will. Now, are they going to win those? Who knows? That we don't know. But I believe that they are going to play some meaningful football here, and they're going to be in the hunt because, like you said, they're not starting 0-7. They're not doing that. They're not doing that. Now, is Philly going to be tough? Yeah, Philly's going to be tough. Philly added some things. They're going to be tough. But I believe that there's, look at the division. Chicago, Justin Fields doesn't scare me. And you have Brian Pringle on the outside as your number one wideout. They're going to struggle. Minnesota is
they're an enigma. I don't get that team,
Yeah, that one's tough because they play like mediocre football, and then there's days where you turn them on Sunday, and Cousins is throwing dimes to Justin Jefferson, and they're good. And then you have Aaron Rodgers. So today, when I say Green Bay is probably the favorite to win the division, of course, with Aaron Rodgers, they're the favorite. But I believe that even if the Lions can split with Green Bay and then they can take the 2 against Chicago and even split with Minnesota, there's no reason why you shouldn't go in and beat a Washington. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to beat, a Carolina. And those are the games you're going to have to win to get where you want to be. And, I tell people this, and I'll say this. We play Buffalo on Thanksgiving, right?
Mm-hmm.
People can sit here and say Buffalo's, in my opinion, Buffalo may win the Super Bowl. I think they're that good. Lions play their best football on Thanksgiving.
And
that's the perfect time to get them.
Momentum is key. You start winning, you start believing. If Detroit wins a couple of those close games like they've had in the past, they get 3-2, they're 4-1, 5-2, whatever. Then Buffalo looks a little bit easier to beat on Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah,
I really believe that. Maybe I'm, with my Honolulu blue and silver glasses on, whatever. They don't call me 10-win Lou for nothing because I always say Detroit's going to win 10 games. But I honestly think they are going to go 10-7. I think they're going to win the playoffs. But
I hope so. I think Ford Field would be amazing. I am pulling for Dan Campbell so hard. I believe that guy. One thing I can say about Dan Campbell, and obviously I'm just gonna. This is the impression he gives me, is that if he doesn't succeed, it's not going to be from a lack of trying or caring. I can tell you that right now. He's putting his heart and soul into this thing. And one thing I know about the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan is that if people in this state think that you're doing your job at 110%, they will always back you in the end. And I believe that's what he's got right now.
Well, Jensen, I appreciate you taking time out tonight to be with us. Look forward to having you on again real soon. Good luck with practice starting this weekend. And, hey, go Lions.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Lou.
All right, you bet. Jensen Riffle, he is our Detroit Lions insider, and always great to talk to him about Detroit Lions football. Yeah, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, obviously. You see my Lions helmet, my Lions shirt, got Billy Sims in the background. 10-7, baby. I think that's where they're going to be at. Now, next week on the show, we got the fellas from the Windy City Digits on. And I know we're going to arm wrestle back and forth on that. That's going to be fun to talk NFC North with them. But I just think Detroit's got an opportunity, boy. I look at that schedule. It's not that daunting. And they win those close games. You talked about any team. Sports is you win, you start believing, and you get that momentum. We talked about Freeland. That's where Jensen coached high school. He went to high school there. I broadcast the games there. They're going for their 15th year in a row in the playoffs. They know how to win. They've got that mentality. That's what Detroit just needs. That's the biggest thing. They get the winning mentality. They haven't had it in what? Well, really, since the early 90s when they won a playoff game. We're in the playoffs every year. They didn't win, but, they haven't even had that in 30 years. That's the first step. Learn to win. Get that winning mentality. It's so big. Once you get it, boy, then you can take it and run. And like I said, I really believe that if they can learn to win those close games and stick around 500, 3-3, 4-3, whatever, going into that gauntlet, then who knows, man? You got to believe. What are your expectations for this coming season? Not just for the Lions, but for your team. Is Buffalo going to be the Super Bowl winner? Are they going to go to the Super Bowl? Why does that seem too good to be true? I look at it, and the Rams are going to be right there. It is so hard to win back-to-back Super Bowls. I look at that division. Kyler Murray's got his big deal. He's got Marquise Brown to throw to. until Hopkins comes back from his suspension, which is, by the way, the same as Deshaun Watson. But we won't go there. Then you've got, San Francisco. They're an anomaly. Who knows with them? In the NFC East, to me, the worst division in all of football. I think Philadelphia is going to win that by default. But don't count out. Well, obviously Dallas is going to be there, but that coaching, I just don't know. McCarthy there's something missing there with him. So I don't know. But you look at the AFC, Kansas City, that division, Kansas City, you've got San Diego or Los Angeles, I'm sorry, and you've got now Denver with Russell Wilson. Everybody's anointing Russell Wilson the MVP. Denver's got this isn't like Matt Stafford going to the Rams with all that talent. I mean, Denver's got some weapons, but not like Los Angeles had. I just don't see Denver going in there and winning 12 games, 13 games. Russell Wilson making them 13-4 or 12-5. I just don't see it. But it's because it is such a stacked division, with Kansas City, with LA. You got Oakland, the fourth worst team in there, and they could go 9-8. How crazy is that? Is Tom Brady going to go back to the Super Bowl? I don't think so. I think this is his last year. I mean, they'll win that division, but you got New Orleans kind of in flux. You got Carolina, who knows? Atlanta, they're tanking. So, that's Tampa's to take unless they really have a brain fart, if you will. They're going to win that division. So we got a lot to talk about with football. Coming up next week, as I mentioned, we've got the Windy City Digits. Let me make sure I'm not butchering that here. Let me go on here real quick. Yes, I did it right. The fellas from the Windy City Digits podcast are going to join us. And then we got a friend of the show coming up as well. Dylan Hebert is going to stop by. We're going to talk New Orleans Saints with him and also pro wrestling. My old tag team partner, Matt Gamlin, and we're going to AEW in Grand Rapids tomorrow night to watch a little AEW pro wrestling. So we'll talk to him about that as well. Well, hey, we're going to close up the show here. We got about 2.5 minutes left to go. Again, thanks to Jensen Riffle for joining us. I want to talk a little bit about Vin Scully. Passed away yesterday or Tuesday night at the age of 94. One of the last, I don't know, he's not the last icon, but one of them that for me, growing up as a baseball guy, I've mentioned it 100 times on my show at least. I grew up with that prototypical transistor radio listening to Ernie Harwell in the background, but on the weekends or on Monday nights, it was Vin Scully. Saturday afternoon baseball, if it wasn't Kurt Gowdy, Vin Scully, you saw him on the playoffs all the time. In this, pardon my dog is outside my door and I can't get up to shut it. He's whining, so bear with me here. But Vin Scully, he was poetry in motion behind the mic. And I wanted to say rest in peace, Vin. Yeah, how many years? 65 years. I saw something where it went from Connie Mack. He coached in Philadelphia for 63 years. And that's, his first year broadcasting in 1950 was Vin Scully until 2016. So between them, like 69 or 68 or whatever it was, 123, whatever, mind-boggling. But I grew up listening to Ernie Harwell, Marty Brenneman, Bob Prince, Harry Carey. Bob Ueckers left. I've listened to him. I listened to him when I was a kid. But then, Jack Buck in St. Louis. And now you got Ernie Harwell. I mean, and then now Vin Scully. Those were my idols. I used to sit up. I've told the story how every year the Detroit Free Press would give out they would post a full page ad of all the schedule for all the Major League Baseball games. And I would post it in my bedroom and point out when my teams would play out west, the teams that I could carry. And every once in a while, I know it sounds crazy, but the Dodgers had a lot of affiliates. I could get Vin Scully off of Lake Superior. Rest in peace, Vin Scully. Well, hey, thanks for joining us tonight here on the show. It's been a lot of fun. We will see you next Thursday night, 7 o'clock live on the Captain Lou Sports Network. You can watch a taped version of this anytime. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Captain Lou Sports Network on YouTube. We're going to get a contest going for that. I will bring you more information on that next week. Thanks to Jensen Riffle for joining us talking Detroit Lions football. Restore the roar, baby. The Lions are coming. Don't forget to join us next week, as I mentioned, at 7 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. Thank you for taking time out to be with us here tonight. That's going to do it here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza. Just a reminder, keep your heads up, keep your feet moving, keep your sticks down, and as always, keep your minds open. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us here on the Captain Lou Extravaganza.